Hi, my name's Robert Wacaster. I'm an author myself, but today I'm going to be an interviewer. I have with me the privilege of interviewing Miss Tessa Wanton. How you doing, Tessa?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's probably going to be a little hot here in Las Vegas. I guess we got quite a time difference. You're going to tell us about your writing today. So, how did you get started in writing?
Well, it's an unusual story. I don't think many people are very similar to this, but basically, I got made redundant around this time last year, and I basically got bored. I was trying to submit a load of CVs every day, and I was stuck to the internet. So I started researching things, and I love relationships and anything to do with love. Um, but as you know, if you type love into Google, you get all sorts of things come up, and one of those things was BDSM. I'd always been interested in BDSM, so I thought I'd start researching it a little bit more. So I joined a site called FetLife to do more research, um, and it was full of amazing things, a lot of things like stories, and it helped to get into the mindset of what people do and how they think. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll start writing up my feelings of how it would feel in this situation, or how this person would feel in this situation. So I thought I'd start posting them. So I posted them to story groups and got some good reactions. Um, One of the other things that happened was I was getting messages, one of which was from Gina Kincaid, the owner of Naughty Nights Press. And she kept hassling me and saying, look, can you not put these into a full story and submit them? And I was, well, okay, I'll think about it, because it's not anything I'd ever thought of doing, was actually being an author. I'd never considered myself a writer of anything, really. So I sort of ignored her for a little while, thinking she might have just had a moment of madness. Um, and kept just writing up my thoughts and feelings and putting them on FetLife. Anyway, she was persistent, and so in the end, I wrote them up into a short story about 22,000 words and submitted it. Shortly after that, it got accepted, and about 2 or 3 months later, it was released, and that was the training of Tess. Basically, it's written from her point of view, and that's it. There's not much character development as such, because I'm saving that for the next two books,
Ah.
and as they go along, really.
So, can you describe? I know how it felt myself from when I've gotten them. Can you tell us what it felt like? How you really felt once you got your acceptance for that, your contract?
Well, yes, it was a bit like walking into a parallel universe for me, because I just thought that I'd get a reply back saying, well, thanks for trying to put it into a story, but you're better off sticking to your day job. So when I actually got it, I thought, okay, where do I type? So I typed on the dotted line, sent it back. I thought, okay, I'm going to have to think of a pen name now. So I had to come up with a pen name at short notice, hence why I called myself Tessa, really, because that was who I wrote about. So I thought, who better to be than the person I wrote?
Yeah, exactly. Um, Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your characters in your book, about your two books that you've done so far.
Okay, well, I'll start off with Tessa, because obviously she was the first one I got published. The the idea behind all of the characters that I write really is that they're relatable to who we are and who our passions are. They could be anybody that you're sitting next to on the bus or on the train on the way to work. Somebody that's real, that you can imagine actually exists. Tessa especially, because she's never done anything like it before, and the whole idea just excites her, and opportunities there. I mean, she ends up with Master, who she doesn't even know his name. She's just kind of got infatuated with him off the internet, and people say, oh, that's not realistic, and I'm thinking, no, I know quite a few people who've done that. And basically I explore the fact that she goes, okay, why not? He pursues her quite, you know, subtly in a way. And some people think, well, he could be a bit of a stalker, and yeah, he probably could be a bit of a stalker, but he's always given her the option that if she just says, no, I'm not interested anymore, he would just walk away.
Yeah.
Of course, if you offer somebody the easy get out, they think, well, okay, we'll see how far we can go with this. And she does just that. She walks towards him, almost like she's obsessed, hypnotised, as it were. He's a clever man, but she's a clever woman as well. She knows exactly what she's doing. So that's it. And for the first book, it's completely from her point of view, what she thinks, the fears and worries that she has, but also what effect that actually has on her as a person. So I suppose the next one really is with Tickle Pink. You've got Ellie and Mark. Again, from Ellie's point of view. Obviously, you hear things from Mark's point of view as well, which gets on a bit further on in the book. But Ellie is pretty annoyed with her job, really. She feels a bit undervalued. She likes the boss, probably more than she should, but she's not going to go for that whole cliche of hooking up with him, even though she knows that, he's pretty keen on her too. And anyway, one day she kind of ends up in a situation where she gets abducted, which, again, people go, that's not very realistic, which I suppose it isn't, but, fiction is an element of fantasy.
Yeah, exactly.
And, she finds out that as she gets tickled for the first time, that she actually quite likes that as well. And it's one of those circumstances that people have said to me before, I hate tickling, I would absolutely hate that. And I'm thinking, no, I don't know, actually. I think you want to think about that a little bit more. You might find that it's one of those things that once you explore, you never turn back.
So how do you name your characters? Do you name them, and sometimes you pattern them after people that you've known?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm trying to create relatable, real characters, then I pick real names of people that I know, because then I can at least weave some sort of character traits of them into it. It's very much easier to remember what somebody looks like and acts like if they're very similar to people that I know. I probably shouldn't say that, because there's one particular character who is pretty much the spitting image of my fiance, and character-wise as well. But I'm not going to say who that is, because it's just way too much fun to keep it guessing.
So I'm guessing none of these people who you've named the characters after know that they were in a book, huh?
Well, not at the moment, they don't.
I see. I've mixed up some names from people in my past and put in my books. One thing that aggravates another author I know is in the majority of works I've done, usually one of the main characters is named Robert, and she's told me, you need to stop doing that. I said, why? I like the name. And she said, that's just not cool.
Oh, well, actually, that's the point, isn't it? Maybe one of my characters is named after me, but we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
Huh? Okay, let's ask. This is actually kind of a touchy subject to some people, but we'll ask anyway. Have you? What kind of reaction do you get when people find out, or people know that you write BDSM or that you write erotica?
Oh, yes. Well, it is a kind of touchy subject, but I've been incredibly lucky with this one. I think I've been more scared about how people would react to it than actually how people have received it. I mean, friends-wise, they've kind of gone, that's interesting, and then changed the subject, but never actually said, that's disgusting, you should go straight to hell, which is quite lucky, really. And some people have gone, what is your pen name then? And they've taken it down and not said anything more about it. And then every so often they come back saying, so when have you got another book out? And I'm thinking, well, you know full well, because you read my blog. some people like it. Obviously, there's a bigger audience out there than you realise for it.
Yeah,
But the one thing that I found most interesting was I was worried about telling my parents. Because how do you turn around and say, "Hi, Mum, guess what I do that I really enjoy"? But in the end, I was spending too many weekends saying that I was doing nothing, when actually I was churning out, between 5,000 and 6,000 words in a weekend. So I just bit the bullet and told my mum one weekend, and she said, "Well, actually, I'm proud of you if you're published, and then that's all that's fine. But just don't get offended if I don't read it." And I said, "No, that's fine. I'm quite happy not to read it and discuss it." But weirdly, we discuss plot lines now quite a lot. Not the sex plot lines, obviously, but actual real storylines. So
with your parents, really? That's interesting. Here's a question off the top of my head. Have you ever thought of, I usually ask this of other authors, have you ever thought of collaborating with another author to write something? That's actually more difficult than you might think, because you've really got to work together on something like that.
Yes, I have been asked a couple of times to collaborate, but the one thing about me is I'm a complete control freak, and as much as I would like to collaborate with somebody, I think I would just continue to completely just dominate the story and say, "Oh, but this is how I think they would be, and this is what I think would happen," and then I just want to go and write it myself. So I think maybe it'd be a good exercise for me to actually let go a little bit. But at the moment,